Okay, we're going to pick up where we left off in the last video. We should have a hammer that's built and ready for the paint process. If you haven't seen the last video, click right here. Otherwise, let's go. If you saw the first video, you'd know that I lost some footage. I was lucky and I found it, so I'm not going to go over it in detail since this process was mostly covered in the first video, but I'll let you watch a time lapse of sorts for completeness. Here I'm preparing to attach Harley's diamond logo, and I'm lining up my ruler from the center of the hammerhead to the center of the handle to lightly mark the center line for the logo. I attached the top and bottom diamond 1 1/2 inch away from the edge of the hammerhead. After those are attached, I can use my ruler to find the home for the third diamond. Like how the handle should have been primed for paint? Yeah, I know. The EVA foam should also be primed for paint. There are tons of ways you can go. Liquid latex, Mod Podge. I usually stick to either Plastidip or PVA glue. In this example, I'm going to show you the PVA glue route. Mix your PVA glue with water at about 2 parts PVA to 1 part water. You'll not need much to do the first coat. It should only take about 2 ounces of PVA glue at most. I set up my hammer in my makeshift paint booth. Check out the video on how I made that if you want to make one for yourself. That thing is awesome. It keeps the garage much cleaner and it collapses into the corner when you don't need it. Anyhow, that's enough for my shameless video plug. Paint the foam parts with the PVA glue mixture. Try to catch any of the drips before they dry. Drips will definitely show through the finished product. Repeat this for 2 good coats. To avoid getting overspray all over my camera, I painted the end pieces with the pale yellow paint. After it dried, I wiped off as much overspray as I could, and then I masked off both ends of the freshly painted surfaces. One thing to note is that I found it easier to paint the hammerhead separate from the handle. This way there are no marks left over by whatever you're hanging it from. Rather than put a bunch of coats of paint on, I found it best to put 2 light coats, just enough to make it solid black. This way the paint doesn't get so thick that it easily cracks when the foam is flexed. Take care not to paint it on too thick. After the paint is dried for at least 24 hours, we need to mask off everything that needs to remain black. Then we want to unmask the diamonds. We are going to add rust effects to the metal banding and rivets. If you want more detail on this method, check out my rust effect tutorial. The link will be on the screen and in the description. I used the salt method on the handle details, but not on the metal banding and rivets since there's so much area to cover. Now we add mustard to the areas we want to show through. Watch out, this can get messy. Now it's off to the paint booth. Watch that mustard. Like the black paint, spray paint the red paint on as thin as you can but still getting solid coverage. Here is where I pay the price for not priming the handle. The paint peeled right off with the tape. Not cool, but 5 to 10 minutes of work will fix the issue. With many paper towels by your side, carefully wipe off the mustard and remove the masking tape. To fix the peeled paint for the handle, I sanded the affected areas with 400 grit sandpaper. I also chipped away any more loose paint to hopefully deter any more from coming off. Okay, so here's how I sprayed my tree rings. In an airbrush, I put 4 drops of Wicked Brown, 1 drop of Wicked White, then I dip my toothpick into a drop of Wicked Blue and mix it in. I then reduce the paint with 4 drops of Wicked Reducer. Don't over reduce your paint, it will produce less than desirable results. With this color, spray the rings from about 4 to 6 inches away. These lines should look very soft. Now I make the same mixture but without the white. So just the brown and a toothpick tip of blue. These lines should be a little finer. Spray these from about 2 to 3 inches away. Now I add a drop of Wicked Golden Yellow to the mixture to warm up the color a bit. And I spray this lightly from about 4 to 8 inches away. Do the same thing to the opposite side. Now moving on to black. Now I will paint the handle with the black to cover up those imperfections. I like to airbrush in the letters. It makes it more pronounced in the final result. For the last color, I mix about 3 drops brown to 2 drops black and put the final touches in. Okay, after you get all that airbrushing done, take the hammer out to the paint booth and put a good coat of gloss clear coat on. If you avoid this step, your airbrushing will get scraped off. Taking about 3 parts black acrylic paint to 1 part water, brush the mixture onto a panel and wipe it right back off. Make sure to do the black panels as well. The difference in the acrylic paint and the black spray paint is noticeable. The important part here is to get the paint into the recesses, making the hammer look grimy. You can do this as many coats as you like. You can also use brown to make it look dirty. If you have some paint that you don't quite like, that you can't wipe off with the paper towel alone, get the paper towel slightly wet and it should help a bit. For added realism, you can dry brush some aluminum color paint to the edges of the metal parts. Finally, spray the entire hammer with the satin clear coat to seal it all in. Once the clear coat is cured, get out the hot glue gun and the paracord. Start at the base of the handle, gluing the start of both cords about 2 inches from the handle cap. Then glue the pieces upward toward the handle cap. Now wrap the handle going around and around and around, gluing the cord about every 2 inches or so. When you get about 2 inches from the end, glue the cord down, but don't glue after this spot. When you get to the end, you want to cut about an extra 6 inches and then seal the ends. Now work the cord back up the handle about 3 or 4 wraps. Then tighten it all up and cut off the excess. Finally, melt the ends with a lighter and push the melted cord into the adjoining wrap. Paint the cut ends of the cord. And there you have it. Celebrate. Your Harley Quinn hammer is complete. Well, that's it for this video. If you've enjoyed this build, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Next week, I'm going to show you how I built this modular hardware organizer / tool cart. And I know there's been a lot of videos on YouTube concerning this exact topic, and I watched most of them. I've gathered the things that I've liked about those videos and as well came up with a few ideas of my own. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and join me next week. Till next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.